Hi, my name is Abraham Beitner. Please call me Abraham. And I appreciate the opportunity to present to you for a couple of minutes. And hopefully you'll see a little bit about who I am and how I do things. I've been a CPA for more years than I want to think about. And been teaching college level accounting since the mid 1980s, on and off through the about a few years ago. My most current teaching experience has been with Ant tutoring, and I just finished a gig with the Computer Training Institute of Chicago. I taught there for 2 years. It was adult education. So this is a little bit how I teach. I try to keep a very high level of energy in my class. I will compliment my students often. I will raise my voice. I yell. If my students see that I'm excited, then they're going to be excited. And that actually makes for an enjoyable session because there's no boring session going on. I recognize the fact that my students will not see it the first time. They may not see it the fifth time. I am patient enough to deal with that. Just to give you a little bit of what I teach to my classes. In accounting, I've noticed that students they do that with their other subjects too. They go in, they're going to read the book and they're going to answer questions. But the thing is, you need to change the way you think when you're studying accounting. And more important than that, I want my students to learn something that they can use as they're taking more complicated courses or as they're dealing with more complicated accounting issues. I want them to always be able to fall back on something, then start thinking up. And what I've devised is I use a handwritten sheet. So I know it's backwards. You're looking at this like an ambulance going backwards. I have a handwritten pamphlet, which I've actually started to copyright, and it's called Tell Me the Story. So before you can do anything with a problem, you have to know exactly what's happening. I strip it down. I don't want to know about amounts. I don't want to do anything else other than what is happening. I bought a car for $1,000. I expect my people to say, I bought a car. And then I ask, how did you pay for it? Now, in my problem, I will say I bought it on credit or I bought it with cash. So they have to tell me how it was paid for. Once I know what happened, I can do the next thing. I can pick what I call the team members, whether they bought an asset or they bought an expense, how do they pay for it, with an asset or with a liability. Once they know what they bought and what team that goes to, and once they know how they paid for it and what team it goes to, then all they have to do is calculate. They're not struggling with what's a debit, what's a credit, because as my law school professor told us, a corporation is an it. A debit and credit are its. Debit is nothing more than the left side of the screen. Credit is nothing more than the right side of the screen. Left, right, that's right. And they get populated only based on how the transaction folds itself out. And I've had students say, I don't need this. And at the end of the session, I go, okay, I'm taking this home. And they go, no, you better not. How dare you? So I've had a tremendous amount of success with this. I'm repetitive as I go through all problems in the future with my students. I am constantly asking them, what's the debit? What's the credit? Did it go up in value? Did it go down in value? They have to keep thinking like that. Once they do, then it doesn't make a difference whether they're doing accounts receivable, accounts payable, funding a capital account, whatever it is. Know what team it's on, and you know whether you have to debit and credit. Understanding the topic is another issue. How to do accounts receivable, the two ways to do accounts receivable, whether you should capitalize an expense or not. That's all accounting theory. The end result, though, is debit, credit. I talk fast, but I get through them. And I also touch them and make them laugh. My students laugh. I'm not always a winner. Okay, I know I'm not always a winner. No one's a winner 100% of the time, but I live for this. I love it. Thank you very much for listening to me. Now I have to figure out how to turn this off.